All right, Celtics Nation. Last night was one of those games that really tested the team's resilience. And let me tell you, Boston came through in a big way. After a whirlwind of sports earlier in the evening, from Monday Night Football to the World Series that seemed to stretch on forever, it was easy to feel a little drained. But the Celtics reminded us why we stay up for these moments. They weren't flawless, and there were stretches where things looked like they might slip away. But in the end, they pulled out a gritty victory that showed a lot about the character of this roster. One of the biggest stories of the night was the performance off the bench, particularly Anthony Simons, who stepped in and provided exactly the kind of energy injection Boston needed. Playing 32 minutes and hitting 9 of 17 from the field, including 6 of 13 from three-point range. He dropped 25 points along with 6 assists and really showed that he could be a dependable scorer when the team needs a boost. His presence kept the offense flowing when starters were resting and turned what could have been a tense fourth quarter into a decisive run for the Celtics. It was the kind of performance that fans hope to see from their bench, someone who can come in, grab the momentum, and keep the team moving toward victory. The starters did their part as well, though Jaylen Brown had to navigate the back end of a back-to-back and eventually picked up his 5th foul in the fourth quarter. That forced him to the bench at a critical point, but the team responded beautifully. DeAndre White made some crucial defensive plays, and Simon's hot hand ensured that the Celtics didn't just hold on. They ran away with the game in the final period, outscoring New Orleans 35-12 in a decisive burst. Josh Minott, who started the game, also made his presence felt with 15 points, 9 rebounds, a steal, and a block, showing that the Celtics' energy pieces can deliver on both ends of the floor. The bench contributions didn't stop there. Luka Garza added 16 points and 6 rebounds in just 19 minutes, and Baylor Shyman chipped in efficiently as well, giving Boston a much-needed boost from players who had to step up while the team navigated a tough schedule. Even though the team shot just 34% from three-point range overall, the volume of attempts indicated that they were still creating opportunities and attacking the rim, which is exactly what you want from a squad that is still finding its rhythm early in the season. Defensively, the Celtics had a solid showing, particularly on the boards. Boston ended up with 54 rebounds compared to 35 for New Orleans, showing an aggressive approach to controlling the paint and limiting second-chance opportunities for the Pelicans. It's worth noting that without Zion Williamson, New Orleans was a very different team, and Boston took advantage of that in the fourth quarter to secure the win. Still, the effort on the boards required commitment from everyone, and the team demonstrated that they can compete physically even when traveling from Detroit to New Orleans on the back end of a back-to-back. That kind of perseverance is encouraging for a Celtics team that is still ironing out rotations and figuring out how to integrate energy players like Simons and Minott consistently. There were some questions about lineup management, particularly regarding how Hugo Gonzalez and Minott were deployed and whether they can share minutes in a way that maximizes their impact. But even with those small uncertainties, the Celtics found a way to win, and that counts for a lot early in the season. Jaylen Brown's contribution, even with limited minutes, was critical, and it's clear that when he's on the floor, the team benefits from his scoring efficiency and leadership. Brown played 24 minutes and still managed to make a significant impact, maintaining his status as one of the primary anchors for Boston on both ends of the floor. Meanwhile, Simons and Minott's performances illustrated that the Celtics can rely on bench players to step up when starters need rest, which is especially important in a long season where injuries and fatigue are inevitable. The game also offered some interesting perspectives on how the Celtics match up against other teams, highlighting strengths in defensive rebounding while also showing areas for potential improvement. Controlling the glass will continue to be a key focus, as it directly affects fast break opportunities and limits opponents' chances for easy points, and the team seemed aware of that necessity during last night's contest. Looking ahead, Boston faces a series of challenging matchups that will test both their depth and their ability to maintain consistency. With upcoming games against teams featuring strong big men, including Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Joel Embiid, the Celtics will need to maintain aggressive defensive strategies while ensuring that energy players continue to contribute meaningfully. The early season standings reveal a mix of surprises, including undefeated teams like the Chicago Bulls and Philadelphia 76ers, showing that the Eastern Conference is already shaping into a competitive landscape. Boston's 1-3 record may not fully reflect their potential, but it underscores the importance of securing wins in games like last night's, where effort and execution combine to create a statement performance. Even in moments where the offense struggled, particularly from three-point range, the Celtics demonstrated that they can generate scoring through movement, interior passing, and strong individual performances. This game also highlighted the importance of managing player minutes effectively, balancing the need for starters to contribute with the opportunity to give emerging players confidence and experience. As the season progresses, this balance will be critical for sustaining success, especially during stretches of consecutive games or when facing high-level competition. The win against New Orleans, with the fourth-quarter dominance and impactful bench production, provided not only a morale boost, but also a blueprint for how Boston can navigate similar situations in the future. The Celtics' upcoming schedule will demand both strategic execution and mental toughness. Games against Philadelphia, Houston, Utah, and other strong opponents will require consistency in rebounding, defensive intensity, and bench scoring contributions. The team's ability to adjust on the fly, as they did in last night's fourth quarter, will likely be a defining factor in how they perform over the next month. With players like Brown, Simons, Minott, and Garza all contributing in different ways, Boston has multiple avenues for success, but they will need to continue developing cohesion and ensuring that energy players are utilized in ways that maximize impact. Watching this team early in the season is a fascinating mix of watching high-level talent in action while also observing how rotations, strategy, and effort coalesce into meaningful results. The key takeaway from last night is that the Celtics can win under pressure, especially when facing travel fatigue and an opponent missing a key player like Zion Williamson. This one also provided evidence that bench scoring and energy contributions are not just supplemental. They're essential for a team that wants to compete at a high level over a full season. Boston's approach to player rotations, defensive rebounds, and offensive efficiency will continue to evolve. But last night's game was a strong reminder that the team has the depth, skill, and resilience to compete in the Eastern Conference and beyond. The mix of veteran leadership, scoring efficiency, and emerging bench talent gives Celtics fans reason to be optimistic, even as the team navigates early season growing pains and tough matchups ahead. This performance also sets the tone for the rest of the week, demonstrating that Boston can respond when challenged and capitalize on key opportunities. From Simon's breakout scoring night to Minott's aggressive presence and Brown's efficiency in limited minutes, the Celtics showcased how a combination of talent, energy, and strategic adjustments can turn a closely contested game into a decisive win. As the season continues, monitoring how these players interact on the court, particularly in rotations and high-pressure situations, will provide valuable insights into Boston's potential to compete deep into the postseason. The game emphasized that resilience, effort, and depth are crucial factors for success. While there are still questions about lineup management and how certain bench players are deployed, the overall message is clear. The Celtics can find ways to win even in challenging circumstances, and that bodes well for their ability to handle the rigorous NBA schedule ahead. Fans can take comfort in seeing how energy players contribute meaningfully alongside stars, ensuring that Boston remains competitive regardless of individual injuries or opponent matchups. The victory, built on a combination of veteran leadership, bench energy, and smart adjustments, offers both a morale boost and a roadmap for navigating the rest of the early season. The early part of the season has been a mixed bag, with 1 win and 3 losses, but this particular victory offered a lot of encouraging signs about how the roster can function under pressure. Boston's ability to execute in the fourth quarter, outscoring New Orleans 35-12, was a perfect example of how intensity, energy, and strategic adjustments can completely turn a game around. Anthony Simons and Josh Minott stepped up in ways that reinforced the idea that the Celtics are not solely dependent on their stars. Bench contributions like theirs can create momentum, shift defensive attention, and open up opportunities for everyone on the floor. It's also notable that players like Luka Garza and Baylor Shyman contributed efficiently, demonstrating that even rotational players can make significant impacts when given the right minutes and roles. The balance between starters and bench players will continue to be a crucial factor as the team faces a series of challenging matchups in the coming weeks. Defensively, the Celtics displayed a strong presence on the glass, which is always going to be a central element of their identity this season. With 54 rebounds compared to 35 for New Orleans, the team showcased how collective effort and attention to detail can dominate a game, even when the opposition has talented players on the floor. Defensive rebounding, particularly in transition, will remain a major focus because it directly influences fast break opportunities, limits opponents' second chance points, and sets the tone for controlling the pace of the game. The Celtics demonstrated that they can execute this element of the game with both aggression and discipline, but it's clear that maintaining consistency across a full season will require all players to stay engaged and continue to prioritize physicality and positioning. This is especially true when the team faces lineups with strong big men or explosive wings who can generate mismatches if defensive attention lapses. The season schedule is shaping up to test the Celtics in multiple ways, including upcoming games against Eastern Conference powerhouses like the Philadelphia 76ers and Chicago Bulls. Those contests will demand not only strategic offensive execution, but also defensive cohesion and smart rotation management. Managing minutes, particularly for players like Jaylen Brown who are dealing with minor injuries or lingering fatigue from back-to-back games, will be essential to avoid wear and tear while still maintaining competitive performance. In addition, games against teams in the West, such as Houston and Utah, will require Boston to match physicality with precision, especially when facing lineups with multiple bigs or versatile scorers who can exploit defensive gaps. The early season standings suggest that competition is already heating up, with only a handful of teams remaining undefeated and several others posting surprising results, which underscores the importance of securing wins in games that might seem winnable on paper. Offensively, the Celtics are finding a balance between perimeter shooting and inside scoring, even if three-point efficiency has been inconsistent. Players like Simons have shown they can stretch the floor and provide scoring bursts from outside, while Brown, Minot, and Garza contribute in the paint and on mid-range opportunities. This kind of diversity in scoring options is essential for maintaining unpredictability and keeping opponents off balance. Additionally, the development of bench players who can consistently produce points, grab rebounds, and create turnovers will be critical as the season progresses. The Celtics' performance last night showed that these rotations can work effectively when players are confident, aggressive, and well-coordinated, which bodes well for the team as it navigates both high-intensity matchups and the grind of back-to-back games. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a stunning twist that has sent shockwaves through the basketball world, the Boston Celtics are reportedly finalizing a deal to bring Kevin Durant to the green and white. The whispers began late last night, when several insiders hinted that the Celtics front office had been in serious talks with Durant's camp over the past week. And now, according to multiple sources close to the situation, the deal is all but done. If confirmed, this move would mark one of the most dramatic power shifts in recent NBA history. Durant, one of the most gifted scorers the league has ever seen, would join a Celtics team already loaded with young talent and championship aspirations. Fans woke up to disbelief this morning, flooding social media with speculation, memes, and cautious excitement. "This can't be real," one fan wrote on X. "KD in green? That's like seeing Jordan in purple." The deal's details remain murky, though early reports suggest a blockbuster package involving multiple players and draft picks. Some insiders believe Jaylen Brown could be part of the exchange, while others insist Boston found a way to keep its all-star core intact. Either way, the Celtics appear determined to make a decisive move to reclaim the NBA throne, and Durant, even at this stage of his career, might be the missing piece. For Durant, the move would represent yet another chapter in a career defined by bold decisions, and high-stakes gambles. After stints in Oklahoma City, Golden State, Brooklyn, and Phoenix, a move to Boston would signal his continued chase for legacy and rings. KD wants to win, and he knows the Celtics are built to do just that, one anonymous league executive said. No official announcement has been made yet, but the buzz around the league is deafening. Reporters have spotted increased activity at the Celtics practice facility, and local media outlets have been placed on high alert for a potential press conference. Until the ink dries, it's all speculation, but one thing is clear. If Kevin Durant truly dons Celtic green, the NBA landscape will never be the same. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.